Hello and welcome to the Evolution of a New You Weight Loss Surgery podcast, where we talk about obesity, bariatric surgery, and share people's stories about their weight loss experiences. I'm your host, clinical exercise physiologist Chris Higgins, and I'm glad that you could join us here. Welcome to this week's show. Here you'll find plenty of support and education along your own weight loss journey. This podcast is for people who are considering having weight loss surgery or people that have already had bariatric surgery. And also for those people supporting or caring for someone who is on their own bariatric surgery journey. Thanks again for joining us. Now let's get stuck into it. In this episode, we talk with Kelly McKenzie, a loving 32-year-old mum of 2 kids and husband, who has very recently had gastric bypass surgery on the 25th of June 2018. She had previously had the band procedure, which caused a few issues, as she'll be able to tell you. She was great fun to interview, and we'll get her on again with some updates on how she's been going. All right, Kelly, thanks very much for joining us today, and really appreciate your time getting in to talk to us about your particular experience with your weight loss surgery. So if we get started, if you can tell us a bit about your own journey so far, and it doesn't necessarily always go to plan. We talked about it a little bit earlier. There's plenty of ups and downs, over the last few years with surgery and stuff. So if you can give us a bit of a rundown, just introduce yourself and let us know sort of, where you've come from, what you've experienced so far, and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Chris, thank you so much for having me on. It really is a pleasure to be a part of this movement that you've got going on. I am all about educating and just getting out there the advice that I don't think there is enough of around weight loss surgery. So a bit about me. I am 32. I was born in the UK and immigrated to Australia in 2003, where I met my lovely husband, and I've had a couple of kiddies, so we've been pretty busy. Before moving out here, I was an extremely active person. I had horses and competed quite seriously in the UK with 3-day eventing. So I had no time to put weight on. It just wasn't a thing. We were too busy running farms and climbing trees and all that kind of thing. But as I found myself coming into early adulthood and certainly going through a couple of pregnancies that were pretty traumatic, there was a lot of weight that went on in that time. And sure enough, I did what most people do, and you have a baby and you try and lose that weight in between. And I did have some success with doing that through various different diets, but nothing really stuck. I'd find the weight that would just pile back on again. I think when my youngest he would have been about 2, I looked into getting lap band surgery, and this was highly advised from my doctor because I was already having other issues, health-related issues to being overweight. But the whole idea of having surgery was so daunting, and initially my family were not on board, that they felt that it was, far too extreme. So that also made the choice very difficult, just not having that really strong family support behind me. And I think being younger as well, I still very much looked up to my parents and their sort of point of view. It took another year or so on the wait list, and I did actually get the lap band put in, and for many various different reasons, it wasn't successful for me. And that's not to do with just the bands, that was also to do with my willpower and my, I guess, like they always say, it's a tool. It's not the magic pill. It's not the answer to everything. And I think just mentally, I was not in the right place. And it was also a lot to do with, I think, the sort of post-operative support, which I didn't have. It was really difficult to get into the hospital with having really young children. The first 6 months of getting fills put in were actually fails because I had so much scar tissue around the port site that they were just injecting into scar tissue. And
Right.
yeah, so by the time that they had worked that out, I was 6 months down track. And even though I had lost some weight, it was nowhere near as what should have been at that stage. So I did have one doctor come along and decide to put like 6 mils of fluid in and just said, let's just throw it in there and see how much weight we can get off you and sort of make up for lost time.
Yeah.
Which was the beginning of the end, really, because it was so ridiculously tight that I was down to just drinking coffee.
Right.
I couldn't get any food down. I was trying to function as a mother of 3 young children, and it was just a no-go. And so after doing that for a few months, I actually had to have my wisdom teeth out, and they requested that the band be emptied for that.
Right.
And it was the best thing I could have done, was sort of be forced into having it emptied, because I was too scared to go in and do it myself off my own back. Just with thinking, I've come this far and I haven't lost enough weight yet, and being my own worst enemy, I think. So I kind of needed someone else to say, yes, you need to have the fluid taken out. We're going to rip a couple of wisdom teeth out. You're not going to feel good. And get some nutrition in. That's kind of, I guess, a bit of my backstory of how I got to where I am now, which is a few years later down the track post-op from the Gastric band. Now I'm the proud owner of a gastric bypass. Only 10 days post-op. So learning lots of things about my body and what I can achieve with this new tool.
That's it. Yeah, it's some pretty exciting times ahead. The top sort of 4 kind of surgeries, like your gastric sleeve and the duodenal switch and the gastric bypass, have a lot better success rates, provided people treat these things, as the tool they're designed to be, and and look after themselves while they're doing it with that support afterwards. It's a lot better. Makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely. And I also think when I originally had the band done, I didn't have as much reason to have such a drastic surgery. At that point, I didn't have all the health concerns that I had previous to having the bypass done. So, in between, I was diagnosed with diabetes and extremely high cholesterol, sleep apnea. So in the time frame between the two, I was starting to tick all those boxes of the health concerns.
Which starts getting a bit scary when you've got young kids and husband and stuff around, and you start thinking, you're like, man, what, these things are not to be taken lightly, generally, because it's they have flow-on effects, and that with like the comorbidities of with diabetes usually comes a whole bunch of other things, and they all kind of link up, and it's start into some dangerous territory there.
Absolutely. And being told that they was sort of shocked that I hadn't yet had a stroke because my blood was that high. I think for me that was kind of the moment where I had to really start taking it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. So since December of last year, like 2017, so you lost 20 kilos already since then, before you even had the surgery. So how long did it take to do that? And what did you give these guys a bit of a understanding of what you did, to get that awesome result before your surgery?
Yeah, absolutely. So that pretty much started because I was diagnosed with the type 2 diabetes.
Right, okay.
And I think everybody has their own personal sort of line that you draw in the sand. And for me, it was being diagnosed with diabetes. I knew I had cholesterol. I knew I had high blood pressure. but being told that diagnosis really shook me. I didn't know about diabetes, but I sure as heck knew how serious it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, I knew I was going to be having the gastric bypass. I was on the wait list at that point. And so after seeing a diabetes educator, I think the main things that were changed up was, for me, carbohydrates. My body loves carbohydrates,
Yeah.
and it loves big sugars. So we really, after monitoring my blood sugar levels after certain things that I was eating, things like a couple of brown rice crackers, like my body was turning that into a blood sugar level of about 24. So it was
Yeah.
just really, really high. So I researched really hard into alternatives. I was looking at things like pulse pasta, swapping out spaghetti for zucchini noodles.
Yep.
Just wherever I could, eating clean, making my own things, and just really cutting down the sugar content. I wasn't a big soft drink or alcohol drinker anyway, but I mean, I think they would have been my number one things to change.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, started drinking mineral water. What else did I change? I guess moving more as well. I mean, I have a history of pretty serious back injury and surgery, so I'm very limited in movement anyway.
Yeah.
I certainly did things like that I knew that I was capable of. So parking a little further away from school pickup just to get those extra steps in. I got myself a Fitbit, which was a really good reminder of,
Yeah.
I need to move my body, or I need to drink some more water, and just things like that, I suppose. And it started coming off pretty quickly, and and then I went into my pre-op diet, which I think you'll probably touch on a bit later.
Yeah, yeah, plenty of fun, or the old pre-up stuff. Yes. Oh man, good times. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in terms of your struggles with, you know, your like food or exercise or, you know, temptations and stuff, are there any particular situations that you found were kind of triggers for you, like, you know, when you're getting stressed and you know, things like that, or, you know, a certain food where you're like, if I have that, I know it's going to lead to having this sort of stuff. And then, did you find any strategies around those that, you know, that either you found, you know, externally, or that you've worked out for yourself that, like, if I can do this, it'll, you know, help curb that sort of temptation, or, you know, things like that?
I am 100% guilty of being a comfort eater.
Yeah.
Whether good, bad, ugly, it's always about food. And I had relied on food for so long, for so many different reasons, that I had kind of forgotten how to do things without food.
Yeah.
I would say things like to my husband, like, well, what would we do on a date night if we didn't go out for dessert, or if we didn't have a meal at that new restaurant? And it was just such a brain block for me. Like, I just didn't know how to, I guess, be happy and content unless there was food involved.
Yeah.
So that has had to be a huge learning curve, and very much still is. I am absolutely still on a journey to learn how to, I guess, enjoy life with it not always being about food, or how to find comfort in not so great situations, which are few and far between, but that's just a part of life.
Yeah.
And I guess that was another reason with going with the gastric bypass, is that I knew that that was my history, and I knew that my triggers were emotional. So I needed something that was going to be, I guess, like my safety net, that, you know, no matter what life was going to throw at me in the future, that I had this tool that was going to support me through that, along with education about what are the right things to be putting in. So I guess, I would say that my biggest trigger would be social events. So one of our family's favorite family activities is to go to the drive-in. Like, we love going to the drive-in, like piling the kids in the boot, in their jammies, popcorn, hot dogs, all that kind of thing. We just love it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was really hard to imagine what that was going to be like if it wasn't just about food. I did attempt this when I was on my pre-op, and I sat there with my little bowl of veggies and my peppermint tea, and had a little cry to myself. It was like a food funeral.
yeah, exactly. And it's that's it.
And for someone who has like zero willpower, it was really hard. So there's definitely going to be situations that come up that are going to really challenge me. And I think that just knowing that I'm in a better place now, I have that tool, I feel so much stronger because of it. It's like I've got a coach with me. Like someone said, do this. Like, we don't have to pile all those hot chips and hot dogs and Coke and okay, I'll stop talking about food now. I need to learn how to do things without comfort food. So yeah, I would say that those would be my biggest fears. And my husband sat behind the camera, but we're yet to find out what to do on a date night. So if anybody's got any suggestions,
everyone can email in your great suggestions, and we'll do a whole nother video about that probably. So that'll be good. It is a really interesting thing, because all the patients that we see with, that have had their surgery, it's the biggest single most thing that's that comes up time and time again is the lack of the support and the realization of how important the psychology is behind changing this stuff, because it's all well and good to change your anatomy and rework the plumbing and stuff, and then if you're still doing the same things as before, you're going to get the same result. Well, and ultimately you can't necessarily do the same things as before, because with particular surgeries, it's it's going to cause you a lot of complications and trouble after the fact, and that's so having that thing of where you kind of recognize that it's there's a psychological component, a mindset component to it, and being able to leverage that as well, to really hit it from two ends. So you've got the physical side and the mindset side. It's a critical thing. And then again, support. So with the other people that are kind of having similar surgeries around the same time as you and that sort of stuff. And Facebook now and those sorts of things, it's amazing. Everyone with the same sort of going through the same experiences can get on and kind of bounce off each other and really have that that support network. So you can, if you think something might be going a little bit wrong or you're not sure, you can have a chat to someone else and they're like, don't worry about it, it's happened to me, and it's all good, don't stress that, you don't need to run off to the doctor straight away yet.
That's right. And the weight loss community out there is amazing, and I really wish I knew that they were out there the first time round. I don't know that would have made the band successful for me, but I think it would have made a huge difference. I felt very alone after having the lap band put in. And like I said, this time round, it's completely different. It's there's so many cool people out there that have already contacted me and said, hey, I love your videos. You're my surgery sister. And, we had surgery on the same day. And so it's been really, really good. There's a lot of support out there for the community. And I think that surgery is becoming a realistic option for so many more people now.
Yeah, there's a lot less, sort of taboo. Like a few years ago, if someone was thinking about getting weight loss surgery or something like that, it was generally, people around them might be like, what are you doing? That's a drastic thing. You're taking the easy way out, sort of thing. But more and more commonly now, it's really not that. It's like, think of how many things personally you tried probably before, leading up to, and you're just like, it just is not sticking. It's not working. I've tried and tried and tried running stuff to the ground.
I tried to make a list of all the attempts I have made.
Lovely. You can tell us about a few different ones that you went through.
Okay, the top of the list has to be Weight Watchers. I think who hasn't Weight Watchers? I did Jenny Craig for a while, which is they make the food for you, and I think you get like a shopping list as well.
Yeah.
We did Light and Easy, which is like they provide all your food. I did Atkins. I did Body Trim Diet, which is like a paleo. I have tried gym memberships. Look, if it's out there, I've tried it.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, I'm a very hot or I'm cold. Like I'm 100% or I'm not at all. Yeah, that's right. So I've given all of these, a red hot go.
Yeah.
And I have, for sure, on most of them probably lost 20 plus kilos, but it's never been something I could maintain. But that's more to do with, I think, the psychology behind it, that I mentally wasn't prepared, or I hadn't yet really figured out what my triggers were. Yeah. I hadn't yet figured out why I was overweight. And it's taken a little while to get to that point, but I'm certainly there now. Yeah. And when you're on a liquid diet, you really quickly work out what it is that you want from food and when you eat it. So the second something caused me stress, I had my head in the pantry and I'm like, what am I doing in here? How did I get here? You suddenly realize, oh crap, I've got issues. How am I in the pantry? So
crazy.
Everything. Yeah.
That's it. All right. Well, in terms of so it's still really early days. Like it's only 11 days, through. So maybe we can throw back to potentially, some of the stuff after the band surgery had as well. Or we'll do a bit of both. So what, a few things have you struggled with most, like since getting weight loss surgery with this time round? And then, probably before as well. So go with this time. So it's 11 days in. So it's not overly a long time. What things are you struggling with now where you're like, this is quite difficult, and how are you kind of getting around with those?
Yeah. Honestly, this time round, I don't have any difficulties yet.
Awesome.
It's really smooth sailing. I think going into it so well educated and so well prepared.
Yeah.
I can honestly, the only thing that shocked me, I guess, was the pain post-op, which in my case was a little bit different because, firstly, because I had the band out. So there was that extra post-op pain there. But because I was already taking painkillers because of my spinal injury.
Yeah.
So there was a day or two there where we were just figuring out what the right cocktail of pain relief was. So there was a few up and downs there, and I had a fleeting moment where I did say to my husband, oh my God, what have I done? This is so painful. But really, honestly, I can't think of one thing that has been an issue. I feel full of energy. The food, the water, and the foods that I'm having are really satisfying. Doing just simple things like putting an alarm on my phone reminding me to have something to eat or to have some broth, because hunger is just non-existent now. And when someone told me previous to the surgery that I might need to put a reminder on my phone to eat, I was like, I'll believe that happens. Like, who are you kidding? You know who you're talking to? But that's for sure. That's the reality of it, is that it's not hunger. It's, I guess you get when a feeling like a low blood sugar. I sort of just get I could probably go some calories right about now. I think that's it. Sort of post having the bypass done. Post lap band difficulties. Where do I begin? I think number one would be the limitation of what I could eat. I mean, it was to the point where I couldn't even eat a salad. I couldn't eat sushi because of the nori wrap on the outside would sit and get. There were so many foods that are healthy and that we should be eating that are low GI and that I just couldn't eat because it would sit and get stuck. And then I would, have the dumping syndrome. So, I think after the band, I'd say the number one complication for me or issue would have been the food aspect and what it was that I could eat. Because I sort of got to the point where I got in like a really bad cycle of sort of getting this to the point where I'm like, I need to eat something now. And you'd be out and about, like there was just nothing that I could eat. I couldn't even eat half a sandwich. I couldn't even go and get some rice. It was just, I was pretty much on liquids. And this was a year post-op. And it became a real point of kind of depression for me. I was like, I couldn't go out and socialize with my friends. I couldn't go out with my family and have a nice meal, even on my birthday. It was just, it was
pretty miserable.
It was miserable. It really was miserable. And I'm such a foodie. I love researching food. I love new restaurants. I love international cuisine. Like, outside of me using food as a comfort, it does actually bring me a sense of joy. I love feeding my family. Like, I just got a new blender for my birthday, and like that brings me so much joy. You know, it's
perfect timing as well.
Yeah, exactly. It will get used well and truly. When I say blender, it's actually a Thermomix. So I got pretty spoiled with that one.
Good one, loving it.
Yeah, it was my band to bypass present. It's like a push present.
That's great. Yeah, so it's good because having a really good blender does help a massive amount. Because you can get your cheaper blenders. I remember having a pretty cheap one. So I had like really bad reflux when I was 16, and I ended up having to get a laparoscopic surgery to put like a Lynx device, and so it's like titanium beads that basically are like magnetic that close your esophagus, so it doesn't you don't get the reflux. But so having that blender really helped with that. But it's as you're saying with the the getting stuck feeling, that it is horrible. Hey, like you just get like the sweat, so it starts burning like in your esophagus. It's a shocker. It really is bad.
And there is no polite way to explain that feeling. They call it a slime for a reason. It's like buckets and buckets of this thick, gooey slime coming out, and you can't swallow that back down.
No.
So times when I was in public where it's like, get to the bathroom right now.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Really nasty. But it's not just that. It's like you feel like you've got an elephant sat on your chest. And you have to breathe slowly. And my kids were sitting at my dinner table watching me do that every single meal. It was scary for them at first. And one of them even commented, "Oh, I haven't seen you do that yet, Mummy." And to be able to say, that's not going to happen. Know, I mean, if I do all the right things, it won't happen.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's good. Yeah, it's good if you're aware, like, and the changes that are made after you have the surgery, like that. There's the possibility of that happening. That's kind of always there. I've found with with my surgery and stuff as well. I still like even last night, like I found if I eat too quickly or something like that, it still happens. I'm like like dying for 30 seconds or something. And it's not pleasant. not
No,
overly
it's not.
painful, but
No.
it's, you know, as
You
long as it, and every time I do it, I know like how I got myself there, because I'm like, oh, I should have just slowed down and not rushed in, but you know, I'm like, I'm hungry, and I'm like, I'm getting in there. I've got to get a
and taking a bit of air while you're eating, and
yeah,
that it's, you know, it's sitting here, and you know you've got some food on top of it. It's like, oh,
yeah. It is tough. It is tough, but yeah, it's not too bad. But well, in terms of you know, if so, yeah, if you had three things to tell someone who's considering you know, getting weight loss surgery, right? So you know, because you were really, you know, really prepared with this stuff, you know, and you have had a bit of previous experience with the band. Is it like we had a quick chat a couple of weeks ago, and you were onto a lot of stuff, you know, had everything kind of ready to go, sort of thing. What three things would you tell someone that's considering getting weight loss surgery, just to prepare them, or just things that they might not have thought about, you know, that you think would be, that you wish you kind of knew before?
yeah, definitely. I'd say my number one is do your research. Don't just go off what your practitioner or surgeon or dietitian is telling you. I think by all means follow that, but do your own research. I learned so much through other patients' YouTube videos.
Yeah.
There are other surgeons out there that do share on YouTube as well. So yeah, I would say my number one is do your own research. I think that is so important. Number two would be prepared, in both senses, both mentally and physically. I think for me, I took a huge sense of comfort in knowing that when I got home from having this surgery, I had everything in place. I had my broth ready, I had my protein drinks ready. There was just no question around failing. I was going to succeed and am going to succeed 100%. And I think everyone's different. To prepare yourself mentally, I don't know that you can ever 100% prepare yourself mentally, but I think with doing your own research as well, it comes with that. I think that, yeah, there was a real sense of comfort in feeling like I had the right amount of knowledge, and that I knew enough about what I was about to do and what that meant for myself and my family, and the impact that was going to have on the rest of my life. It's certainly not something that you can do and change your mind 6 months later. It's you know, I guess it's quite a different experience walking into a hospital with essentially a plumbing system that works perfectly, and handing it over. Yeah, so I would say that would be my number two. Number three, most important, I would say get involved in a community. Get the support behind you. If you don't have the support through your own family and friends, go out and find it, because it is out there. There is a huge weight loss surgery community, either on Facebook, or you can Google your local area or start one of your own. A big reason why I started my own YouTube channel is that I didn't know many people around me that had had the surgery. Even though I was on and in a lot of the forums and the communities on Facebook and Instagram, I still wanted that kind of one-on-one feel. But I mean, that's not for everyone, but there are certainly plenty of people out there that have put videos out there. And I guess they're all watching this for a reason.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's, you know, that's what it's for, really, isn't it? But now, so where can people find your channel? Because you've got a lot of great videos, all the way from before you even had surgery, you know, all the way through, and you're just kind of following through each week, or, you know, every few days, whatever. But yeah, people want to get on and have a look at that. So where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. It's called Kelly's Journey. And I guess we can put a link down the bottom for everyone to look at. Also on Instagram, which I do more of like a daily post of what fun things have come up that day post-op, and what broth I'm drinking that day.
Delicious.
So that is Kelly_Journey_AU. And we'll link that one below as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, please follow along if you've got any interest in how stunning I might look in 12 months' time.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I have a pretty good sense of humor, and I like to look on the light side of everything. So yeah, it'll be a fun, friendly place to come and hang out and ask lots of questions. I love questions.
Exactly. We got the first-hand experience. So I'm sure it'll be very, very helpful. Well, we'll definitely get you on again and have a bit more of a chat following you along as well. And in terms of that, have you got any questions at all for us, or otherwise we can just leave it there and go from there?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be back on, and I would love to see everyone's questions. If there's something that they would like me to cover, or you've got just any more questions about my experience. I guess mine is quite unique in the fact that I'd already had a previous surgery, and I guess thanks so much for having me. It's been fun.
No worries. Well, wish you all the best for the next few weeks, and we'll catch up with you then again. Thanks very much, Kelly.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye, guys.
I hope you got a lot out of this great interview with Kelly. She really tells it how it is, and it's so helpful for so many people to gain another perspective and see what someone else has found challenging and the wins and strategies they've put in place. Now, I've recently finished writing an ebook for people considering having bariatric surgery or people that have just recently had their surgery. It's called Bariatric Surgery Facts You Need to Know to help ensure a successful surgery, a successful recovery, and sustained weight loss. I'm giving away a few free copies of it at the moment, so if you'd like one, you can click on the link in the show notes or in the description below and I'll get one to you. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and tune in next time to the Evolution of a New You Weight Loss Surgery podcast. You can visit us at evolutionalliedhealth.com or find us on Facebook at Evolution Allied Health. You can also join our Facebook group called Evolution Weight Loss Surgery Support. If you have any questions or you'd like to be on the show, you can email us at podcast@evolutionalliedhealth.com.